Hey everyone, we are here with our next video in our viewer question and answer series. We're talking to Holly. She is down in Texas. And now, Holly, you've been a longtime viewer of mine, and I know we've corresponded on things in the past. Holly is vision impaired. And so we've talked about, how that may impact making funeral arrangements and different things that you could do as a director working with somebody who maybe had an impairment. So she was sharing she just got her fifth
guide dog
recently before COVID. So she has been getting a lot of dog snuggles and getting to know, is it a boy or girl?
It's a girl, and her name is Britta, and she's a little yellow lab.
Oh, nice. So she's getting a lot of extra love right now. During
rough life. Somebody's got to do it.
Well, what is your first question, Holly?
My first question is my dad and my grandfather and great uncles and everybody were all in the military.
Okay.
And I have always been very interested in the military. If I could see, I wanted to do that as well. And I also love history. So I love reading about like the Kennedy assassination and things like that, and an honor guard. And for you as a funeral director, if you're working with somebody who deserves an honor guard, like would a General Schwarzkopf have gotten one, or how does that work?
In terms of, do you mean like standing guard at the casket, or what?
Correct.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we have had people with honor guards, but it's typically the VFW and American Legion guys coming and trading off shifts, standing in the funeral home with them. But
are they there for the embalming process too, or is
no?
Okay.
It's just during it's more ceremonious or ceremonial during the visitation and the service. Same with some police, police funerals. Sometimes firemen funerals do that they will come and stand at the posts, at the foot and the head end of the caskets during visitation services and such. The higher you rank up in military, the more pomp and circumstance that there is. So whether it's even by the book or not, or whether it's just how can we, give more honor or give more, frill to the situation, I guess. They may do more and more and more for them. But
cool.
There'll be escorts, and if they're killed in action and such, there'll be much more done than any other military situation. So,
right. How did you? I loved your motorcycle video, hearse video, and like I can't really see when the Hearst Fest videos I've seen, but there's so much other background noise, it's hard to tell what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed that a little bit. But how did you develop such an interest in hearses like that? That's so neat.
To be honest, I don't have, if I had to rank everything, cars are not like my greatest passion when it comes to the business. I think it's interesting, the history of hearses and what people do with them. I think it's a lot of the psychology of people loving the hearse, not as much me admiring the hearse, but the relationships that people have with them fascinates me. I like the different styles. I like that it's personalized to the deceased, like with the motorcycle hearse. Bill did a great job, having that available for the community and, anybody who wants to rent it from him to be able to provide that final ride. I'm not a big car person in terms of knowledge and everything, so it's not so much my forte, but I do love motorcycles. I love
they're just cool.
There's just something about them, and I think I like the irony of that you believe that people should be one way and they are not always the way that they come off. I have a call into a motorcycle club that's near me that I know some people from, to try and talk to them about maybe traditions of their funerals and stuff. They lost a member a couple of years ago who was murdered by another motorcycle gang, actually. And, I think there's such a connotation when you say motorcycle gang, but it's just another group of people that come together in common something. But
and a lot of them would give you the shirt off their back. I mean,
they would. It
really
it doesn't mean they're any certain type of personality or anything. They're not all Hells Angels. No, and it's not that Hells Angels are terrible. I think there was some
not at all
that happened within certain organizations, and it doesn't define what that term is. But I've seen so much good outpouring of love and support for them within their communities of riders and such. So I think that's really awesome.
We do here every Christmas. There's a thing that Toys for Tots does, and they go all the way across the Dallas-Fort Worth area delivering toys, and it's all bikers.
That's awesome.
It's just this huge line of bikes. Like last year I was coming home from church, and there was a lady, and she had this, it was a female biker, and she had a bear that was probably as big as she was strapped to the back of the bike. It was so cool. Nice. It was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, if you think about, what's the Southern Baptist group? I don't even want to give them a name just because that they go out and they try and, I think it's Southern Baptist, and they try and like at funerals, like pick at the funerals if they don't believe in, whatever the person, if they,
we don't claim
whatever, but is it Freedom Riders? Is that what they call them? Like, so blank on words today. The group of bikers that go and they stand in front of them to block, so the family doesn't have to see that garbage going on, and they'll drive all across wherever to stand up for bullied children, and just all the really good things. Maybe it's to dispel that rumor or that connotation that maybe bikers get as to them being
we had whatever. When I was a kid, I was in youth at church. In the summer, we had a bunch of guys, one of which was one of my friends. He was a Sunday school teacher, had a white beard down to about here and hair to match it and everything. And I mean, his name was Milo, and could, would give you the shirt off his back, but he would scare the snot out of you if you weren't careful. But he and a bunch of friends would come to church on Sunday night on their bikes. Full gear, the whole, and I mean, you heard them get there, because it's all hard, and I'm one of those that if it's a bike, it better darn well be a Harley. I mean, if you're going to do it right, do it loud.
Well, what's your third question, Holly?
My third question, the other day, you were talking about the way a cemetery is laid out.
Yeah.
And okay, say if I'm looking at my grandparents' grave, but both of my grandparents, they're buried in the same cemetery, which is really cool. And one's in the military section. My dad's parents and my mom's parents are in the civilian. But if you had said that, the head is not necessarily where the headstone is.
Correct.
Okay, so, would my grandfather's feet be next to my grandmother's head, or?
It honestly depends on the cemetery. A lot of times it's going to be at the head, but you may not be, if you're standing looking at the stone, you might be standing on your family member, or they might be the other way behind the stone as well.
Oh, okay.
There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't mean that it's not always at the head, but they may lay them so that they're all facing one way for reading visibility, but there also might be rows so that as you walk down the row, you can look each way and read. So there's just all these different ways that you can lay out. There's no one answer. And so it means that sometimes the stone may not be at the head, or that you may be like I said, you may be standing on your loved one, or they might be on the other side of this. There's just no, it just depends how the cemetery is laid out and how they choose to lay things.
So the casket lowering device thing, that's on top of there. And then once the casket you're gone. Is it like they crank it down to put it in there?
Oh, yes. So there's a crank and the straps will lower out and the thing unwinds and you lower down into the vault. And then sometimes the vault lid is set up with the lowering device and it'll come in on top and then lower in, or they may have to move everything and then boom truck the lid in on top. So it just depends on the company and how they set it up and how they do it. So, yeah.
I know when my dad's dad died, we literally got chased out of the cemetery by a backhoe. They were right there getting ready to bury him. I was like, whoa, that thing's right there. You know?
They were ready to get to work, I guess. Oh.
Yeah, they were ready.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it was cold, so they wanted us out of there.
Yeah.
Not Michigan cold, but cold.
Texas cold. That's probably like a heat wave for us.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you, Holly, for asking me some good questions and for spending some time with me today.
This was fun. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.